Life is full of work and stress. Parenting can be a mess. Being a woman is hard enough without adding on that extra stuff. We'll cover topics of every kind. Helpful resources we will find. We'll even drink a bottle of wine. Join us. It will be a real good time.
Hi, I'm Amanda,
And I'm Nikki,
and welcome to Working Mom's Wine, where we drink a bottle of wine.
and whine about our crazy, busy, stressful working mom lives while trying to gather information to help us and you along the way.
That's right. What are you drinking today?
Mine is fun. The description is fun. So it's 7 Deadly
Ooh, it looks
Red,
pretty.
and it says 7 Deadly Red, sinful indeed. This wickedly delicious red wine just might lure you down the path of gluttonous pleasure.
Oh.
Crafted from grapes grown in the diverse and hallowed soils of the enviable Lodi Appellation, where greedy winemakers hunger to create hedonistically seductive wines.
Oh my.
We've tempted evil's wrath and are eternally damned to deliver decadent wines like our 7 Deadly Red.
That's amazing.
This is incredible, and now I wish I had saved it for when we were together.
Is it good?
I haven't tried it yet, but I just think it's funny.
Well, my
Let's
wine
see.
isn't near as exciting because what's the verdict?
It's
Yeah?
decent. Yeah.
So I had to run out and get a last minute wine, and all they had available where I went was Barefoot.
Womp
So
womp.
I will be drinking their Moscato today. Nothing spectacular, but that's the
It'll do in
way,
a pinch.
yeah, that's the way it happens sometimes. So today we thought we would whine about school breaks in general and what that can mean for working parents. Spring break just happened, and even though we're a little too late for spring break this year, it also translates into fall break, summer break, 4-day weekends, anytime where uh, a school might have a late start or an early release or anything that messes with your work schedule, but especially breaks because they're longer.
They are longer, they take a lot more planning,
Yes.
and for some, a lot more money.
The nice thing about all of this is it is on the calendar. So if you're a planner, you can try and figure out what you're going to do. But it can be a lot even when you know that it's coming to make those
Yeah.
arrangements, and it's expensive to pay for those arrangements if you don't have free help available. And it's just, if it's just you and the kid ends up there and you don't have time to use PTO, then you have to arrange your work schedule around it, and that can be very frustrating too. Or, the kid just interrupts you 15 times while you're on the phone or trying to have a podcast. And then, of course, everyone can start to get cabin fever if you can't properly exercise your children.
So I work from home, and when these breaks come up, I can't afford to send her to some camp or some
Yeah.
such thing. So she just stays home with me. I do feel fortunate that I work from home so she can stay home.
Yeah.
If I was going into an office, I don't know what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's difficult. It's a difficult balance because while I work from home, I'm supposed to be on the phone almost every second of my day.
Right.
So, having the time to check in on her and to make sure she's not doing things she shouldn't be doing, and making sure she's not on the screen the whole day. And then when she wants to
Right.
go to play outside, sometimes I feel nervous about that because I can't be outside watching her, and
Right.
we live in a crazy world.
Right.
So I've done all these things. Like for Christmas, I got her a GPS watch. And
Mm-hmm.
while if it worked all the time, it would be great, the signal doesn't work all the time. So, we just do the best we can, but it can be stressful.
It can also be really expensive if you want to go
Okay.
do something with your kids. Like, say you do have the PTO and you want to,
Yes.
Make some memories or make sure they're not on the electronics too much or what have you. Just even doing things locally can be so expensive.
Right. And even when you go to the free stuff, you wind up spending money to park or in the
Yeah.
store or to eat.
Right.
And it's like, okay. I'd have to say probably the most stressful part of spring break this year for me is the fact that I did plan to take PTO and
Yeah.
I got it granted. And then 2 weeks ago, Ari and I got the flu and I was out of work for a week.
Oh no.
And I am now negative PTO balance. So I'm trying to figure out if by then I will have enough. I have to take at least one day because I scheduled her to have a dental appointment. But
So is
I'm
your
trying to
job
figure out if I have enough to take the week or not.
one of those ones where it accrues slowly over the year? That's stupid.
It's like every pay
I always
period you
hated
get
that.
so many point something hours.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to keep track of that. Just give me my PTO at the beginning of the year, like my job does, and let me waste it how I'm going to waste it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Ours is on your hire
But
date.
no.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. But like, we ran into the same issue because we thought that we were going to try and do this thing where we were going to get together with Brandon's side of the family and his mom, because everyone has the same spring break this year, and go on a longer trip. And so we were trying to be very conscious of saving back 40 hours of PTO so we could have a week off. And Brandon got sick for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, now we only have 32 until his PTO renews, period, and it will all have to go to spring break, and we will probably still have to arrange the trip in a way where he can still work that day that we'd be missing. Either way, we were trying to figure out how we could make it work with only 32 hours instead of 40, but then the trip did not end up working out, which, that has its own sadness, but it also relieved that stress for us at the last minute.
Yeah. Sometimes it's there's silver lining there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure that I get back out of the negative and get enough saved up for the Disney trip, which I have the whole year, so I should be able to do it. But getting sick worries me. It used to be that I could work sick, so if it wasn't too bad, I could still work. But there's been a lot of changes at my job in the last 2 weeks, and it's going to make it a lot more difficult for me to work through feeling sick.
Helpful advice. You got any helpful advice for parents that have kids on a spring or fall or summer break, but they still have to work for some of it?
I feel like the only advice I can give is to plan ahead. As soon as that school releases the calendar, sit down, put it all on your calendar, plan ahead, and if you can, have a backup plan. That's the best I can give.
I feel like we're very
Use your
lucky
support
because we have
systems. Don't be
grandparents
afraid
that
to
live
ask for
close,
help.
and especially, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, like our mom has a little bit of land, she's got a pool, so the kids can go over and run wild. Something I was going to say is Google is your friend. And I'm going to go one step farther and say Chat GPT is your friend. Let me think about this. Brandon will use Chat GPT for anything and everything. And I know there are people on both sides of the fence when it comes to AI in general. But I will occasionally use it for something where I'm just looking for an idea to bounce off of. So I know a lot of moms like to use it for meal planning. They'll be like, this is my budget, or these are the ingredients that I have in my house, help. And it is very helpful for that. And you can do it with the free version. Or if you like I had like 11 or 12 surveys the other day that I needed to put in a spreadsheet. Could I have done that myself? Sure. Was it easier to copy and paste it into Chat GPT and let Chat GPT make my spreadsheet? Yep. But all of that to say, if you go there and say, what can I do with my kids on spring break for free? It's a lot of it's, very basic stuff like go on a hike, have a picnic, visit a playground, go on a scavenger hunt, have a movie night, do a craft project. Maybe I like one of those things. Maybe I say, oh,
Yeah.
I like the idea of going on a scavenger hunt. Can you create a scavenger hunt for me? So, like, say you don't have time to, make your own. Yeah, it made a spring break scavenger hunt. It has, nature finds, neighborhood outdoor fun, color hunt, mystery challenge items, and bonus fun tasks. And then you can ask it to, get even more specific on certain things if you want. But that way you don't have to sit down and plan out that activity yourself. You can just go
That
get
is
a
nice.
quick idea. So AI has its place, but for things like this, ChatGPT is a great tool. I would say utilize older children if you have them to entertain the younger ones.
Mm-hmm.
I have one kid who's working towards multiple goals that require finances, like show choir and an extra thing through the dance studio that costs money and things like that. So I'm like, hey, if you do a good job, like you can't be on your tablet. You got to engage with the younger kids and run them through games and things or watch them outside really well. Then I will add into that fund. And yeah, that still is costing me a little
Mm-hmm.
money, but not as much as a babysitter would. I had an adventure. If you guys are aware of the video game Amanda the Adventurer, this Amanda almost went psychotic on her own adventure today. So we're going to have to back up a little bit. Brandon and I were both in desperate need of newer cars. And the plan was I was going to get one. And then we were going to go on our vacation this winter. And then he would get one. But we lucked into a good enough deal that we both ended up getting a car. And mine, I started driving it one day and I went to get the windshield wiper fluid to spray on the windshield and nothing came out. But this was also back when it was like 20 degrees outside. And I'm like, I think they put something in it so that it doesn't freeze, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the things it comes out of can freeze. Maybe we'll just wait. Warms up. I still can't get anything out of it. So we had to go back to the dealership a couple different times for different paperwork and things that we hadn't gotten done yet. And on one of my trips, I'm like, hey, I think, there's no wiper fluid, whatever. So he tops it off. And I said, cool, did you test it? And it was the salesman who did it. And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay. So he goes out and he tries it and it doesn't work. So then he looks at it closer and there's a part missing. So the fluid is coming out but not spraying on the windshield, basically. So he orders the part and it came in probably about half a week ago ish, but working parents, you don't always have the time to swing by and get that taken care of. Yesterday, we got what we thought was the title for Brandon's old car in, which we need to bring to them so that they can resell it after they fix it. So I'm like, hey, we've got that title in now. What if I come by and we get the windshield wiper fixed and all of that? And he's like, yeah, cool. So we get there. I had not opened what I thought was the title. But we opened it up.
Oh my God.
It was a title, just not the one we thought it was. It was the one for one of the cars we just got. So I was like, okay, sorry, I guess that's still in the mail. But then he tells me, well, also that part that came in, we kind of lost it and have to reorder it. And I was like, are you kidding me? So anyone who is anywhere near where we live had muddy rain the other day. So I now have a windshield covered in muddy rain.
Yep.
And I didn't get the fix I thought I was going to get. I went to the gas station to get my wine today, thinking I'll get wine, I'll squeegee my windshield, and then we'll be good until the next muddy rain or the next time I drive on a gravel road or whatever. So I go to the gas station, I pull up, I start filling it up. I look behind me, and the place where the squeegee would be is bone dry, and there's no squeegee there. And I'm not going to go to all the other things. So I guess I'm just going to keep Windexing my windshield and wiping it down with a towel. But I go inside the gas station to get the wine, and all they have is barefoot. And I'm like, this day is just not getting any better. Well, last night we forgot to do a grocery pickup. So on my way out to do all of that, I'm on my way. And the app doesn't say, oh, sorry, you can't. Or, hey, we've canceled your order, or anything like that. So I get all the way up to the grocery store, and I go to tell them what parking spot I'm in. And that's when it says, you have to wait for your check-in time, which is now, instead of yesterday at 7, tonight at 7. Why didn't you tell me before I went up there? Yeah. So that was my adventure today. At least I got wine, but I would have gone somewhere else if I'd known that was going to be the selection. or that I wouldn't be able to clean my windshield today. But we're
Mhm.
here.
We are here. That is true.
We're, as John Green, I think it is. Yeah, John Green says, we're here because we're here, because we're here, because we're here. And if you don't know what that's about, you should look up Hank and John Green and watch some of their stuff. But thanks for joining us again. You can find us on all the socials as Working Moms Wine. We have workingmomswine.com, patreon.com/workingmomswine. If you have any good break activities, especially like bonus points if they're free or easy to do around the house, drop them below. We'd love to see those suggestions.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.